Moshi Moshi.
Hello?
I'm Zeb Ramsbotham.
And I'm Annie Ramsbotham.
And we're the Rambling Ramsbothams.
Our journey might be rambling, but we hope this podcast isn't.
You know what I'm glad about?
What? That I bought cheesecake and we ate some right before this?
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty good. Do you know what today is?
It's October 16th?
Yeah.
No.
It's trash day.
Oh. Thank goodness.
Oh, well, I forgot to take the trash out on Thursday night.
Oh.
That's why the trash is so full.
I was wondering.
So I've been really cramming it into that one bag.
We have other trash bags.
I know, but it always feels like
Wasteful,
you know?
It is hard because we only have trash day like twice a week. And so then, you don't want to bring out a half bag of trash because that's a whole half bag you could have used up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you kind of have to like plan out your trash output.
Well, thankfully, I don't think we really do. Because usually the bag's appropriately full.
I don't plan it out. I just like squish it down and
yeah,
just really try to cram as much in.
I'm really good about taking it out though on Monday nights because they pick it up Tuesday morning, or Thursday night because they pick it up Friday morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they pick it up like first thing in the morning, like 6:30 a.m. Because I remember I tried to get out there one time, and it was like 6:30 a.m. and I was like, no, please.
Yeah, because technically they say you're not supposed to put it out the night before.
Yeah, but I'm not getting up at 5 a.m. for trash.
Yeah. And we have someone, well, let it be known, we have someone that lives in our apartment and they don't know when trash day is.
Yeah.
They keep putting it out on the wrong day.
It doesn't bother me. It doesn't really smell.
Okay, it doesn't bother me either, but the only reason it slightly bothers me is I feel like everyone probably looks at us and they're like, those foreigners don't know when trash day is. But it's not us.
They can't read the signs.
I know. We do it on the appropriate day.
Yeah.
But I just forgot last time because I work at the night school. And last time I came back on Thursday night and I was just tired. And so I have an alarm on my phone, so my phone reminded me, but I remember being like, I don't want to go outside. So I didn't
notice until you said anything. I just thought we'd been exceptionally trashy.
Oh no, I've been like really waiting for it.
Okay.
The only issue is that, and it's nice that it comes twice a week because I guess it's like not a Japanese thing. I mean, anywhere you live in the world, trash will get stinky. But I feel like because we do eat a lot of fish, that's always my worry, is that we eat so much fish, so there's usually like fish skin and stuff in there. But
we also don't have a like sink disposal. I don't know if this is just an American thing.
I think sink disposals are just an American thing.
Where like, so I guess if you're not American and you're listening to this, it's like a thing in your sink. It's basically like a blender.
Yeah, we have a blender in our sink. Some people do.
Yeah.
I never had one.
My parents' house had one.
Well, I can still remember when my mom got one. It was a big deal. I remember like when they installed it, it was like, whoa.
Well, yeah, you never put any food trash in the trash can. You just put it all in the sink and you just blend it up. It goes right down.
Yeah, that sounds pretty American.
Yeah.
I doubt anyone else in the world's doing that other than us.
You ever accidentally put a spoon in there?
No.
Oh, guess what, listeners? I accidentally so our microwave has an oven function, and I'm always scared about putting metal in it, but I accidentally put some metal in the microwave function.
That's frightening.
Yesterday for like 2 seconds, but I quickly stopped it, and our microwave is fine, and we're fine, and yeah.
Yeah, we sound very dysfunctional. We don't take the trash out. We've been microwaving metal. What else have we done?
Well, you know what we did that was good? We celebrated our anniversary. We did big fancy people things. 2
weeks late.
Okay.
We got around to it. No, so last week
it was just a convenient date. We said happy anniversary on the actual day, but then
so Annie was on that bike tour in Gunma that we talked about last episode. So this week, because she was actually here with us,
because Annie decided to come home. And it was a Saturday, so we waited until it was a Saturday night. And Zeb got us a really nice reservation.
But not only that.
Oh.
I made pancakes.
That's true.
For breakfast.
Yeah, so we had another kind of date day because it was Saturday. So we had really nice pancakes for breakfast.
Well, our first date day was just because we hadn't seen each other like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then this was more of a formality.
Oh. You had to make me pancakes.
Yeah.
So anyway, we went on a bike ride, and then when we got back, it was almost time to take the train into town for dinner. it was a 6 o'clock reservation, I think, or 6:30. It was 6, which sounds really early, but then dinner, I don't know if this is, maybe some European friends listening are like, yeah, that's nothing. But like, usually dinners, formal dinners in Japan are going to be like a 2-hour thing, especially if it's like a kaiseki meal.
I guess if you think about maybe some southern European countries like Spain, they might eat dinner like 8 or 9, but then it's like a thing, you know.
Yeah,
you're
that's
out
what
like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah,
But
just I don't know. We would have family dinners because that was an important thing for my family, and it was nice, but it wasn't like a 2-hour thing. But anyway, I'm just thinking of that because one of the guests on the bike tour was like, I had a great time. It was really lovely. Some constructive criticism. I might not like to have like a 2-hour meal every single night. And I was like, yeah, that's fair. Like, I guess if you're used to saving some time, like in the evening to go see stuff, then like all of a sudden you don't have time to do that.
Or if like food's just not like,
it's
if
not your
experiencing food isn't your thing and it's not something you're interested in, and it's fine. Like if sometimes I'm like that, especially with like breakfast or even some meals, like I'm in the middle of doing something.
I'm just trying to eat and then keep doing my activity.
Like, I'm hungry, so I need to eat, but I'm not trying to have like a production or enjoy it. Well, because
with a kaiseki style meal or like any of those kind of course meals, you don't get to choose the pace, and so you have to like wait until the meal's done, which is, you know, it'll come out over the course of 2 hours. It's not like you're just caught up. You could and should be caught up in the discussion maybe with whoever you're with, and maybe the time will just fly by.
If you've been doing that for 8 days,
yeah,
maybe by the end you're like, okay,
yeah,
I just want to eat a slice of pizza in bed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was kind of a risk, not risk, but so Japan actually does have like a lot of international food, but a lot of times it's the Japan version of the international food experience. Mm-hmm. And so I know that kaiseki is one of Annie's favorite, I guess, like Japanese meals or experiences.
It's a fun experience.
So originally I was looking for a kaiseki restaurant, but a lot of them are pretty traditional, and me being, I guess, like an introvert and also a foreigner and not speaking super good Japanese, I don't like talking on the phone anyway. If I can find a place that has online reservations, that's ideal. And so a lot of kaiseki restaurants tend to be maybe a little more traditional.
Yeah, and you have to like call to book a reservation usually. Yeah.
So I found this place and they had online reservations. Wow. And they're actually across from a kaiseki restaurant. And it happens to be in probably Annie and I's favorite neighborhood in Kanazawa.
Yeah, it's like near the Samurai District.
Yeah, if you come to Kanazawa and you go to the Samurai District, you should, if you can, like they're the top sites to kind of see. But if you have like a little bit of time and you can kind of just wander around the greater Nagamachi area, it's just really pretty. It's kind of like cozy and quaint. It's a fun place to walk around and pretend like, oh, what if we lived here? You know, and you can look at all the houses. Mm-hmm. It has a really good vibe for
especially
doing
that night, because it was already dark. Even though it was like 6, it's starting to get dark really early.
Yeah, I looked at the forecast for the sunset. I look at a lot of forecasts for the sunset. By the end of October, it's going to be just under 5 p.m.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 4:59.
That's one of the hardest parts about winter is like the really early sunsets.
Yeah, I'm going to have to order some more vitamin D or something.
I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was fun because we were walking to dinner and you're only like 2 blocks off like the main, kind of one of the main streets that goes through downtown. Mm-hmm. But then you feel like you're in a neighborhood because you're walking along the street that has canals running through it, so it's got this peaceful like water noise the whole time you're walking. And then we walked by this was a junior high school, and there was like a dance happening out in the yard, like in the baseball field area. There was like lights and people and dancing, and well, there wasn't anyone dancing, but there was music.
Someone clapped. There's some clapping.
There was like a fun little thing happening, and people were biking over to the school. Like kids were like walking together.
They're standing in front of buses.
Well, there was a bus that was trying to like go down the street, and there was.
It was just nice to have like a quaint neighborhood. Yeah, feel like, oh, there's stuff happening. People are out and about.
Yeah, it was very lively.
Yeah, it was a good atmosphere. And then we made it to dinner, which was a...
It was French Japanese. So it's like a French style restaurant, but of course this is like in the realm of like Japanese cuisine. So it was like everything had a Japanese twist to it, but it was more French food.
And like, for example, we noticed, it was really funny that, so the premise is like you sit down and you get a menu, and the menu only has the ingredients. So basically like the star ingredient of each little course. So it's kind of like a kaiseki style where they keep bringing you food.
I liked that because it kept the surprise. Like you get 10 tiny dishes, and so you know like, oh, the next one that comes will have shrimp and persimmon, but you don't know like how it's presented.
Yeah.
So I thought that was still fun.
But we noticed it was really nice. Like every single course that you got had different utensils.
Yeah.
But the whole time there was a set of chopsticks there in case you wanted to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But they always gave you like a different spoon and fork to go with the meal.
Yeah.
And then there were some chopsticks. And it was pretty funny because you could tell like
I kept waiting.
the Japanese influence.
I kept waiting for like the dish to use chopsticks with, but because they kept giving us a spoon, like specifically for this dish, here's the spoon. So I was like, okay, I'll use the spoon. And so I guess then by the end of the meal, when I hadn't used the chopsticks still, I was like, oh, that was just my option, I guess.
So it was an interesting fusion because we were also trying to describe the restaurant to each other. That the restaurant did have a bit of a European feel, but it was still very Japanese.
Yeah, like you're sitting at a counter,
presentation.
like a wooden counter, very close to the chef, kind of like at a ramen restaurant or something.
Yeah.
But then everything was very like sleek and like understated, kind of like a Nordic, like minimalist vibe.
Yeah, Japan's super into the Nordic vibe. And then it was really funny too because then it did have, and I wonder, I'm curious about like, I wonder if the chef lived in France or if he just really likes.
Maybe he just likes that food.
Yeah, but then of course he was cooking with chopsticks. So it's pretty funny that he was like, at one point he was like cooking steak or something, but he had like his like chopsticks that he was like flipping.
Yeah, well, I mean, because I guess it wasn't like a French restaurant, but it had definitely influences of both. But apparently he's got 6 different seasons because we asked him at the end, like, is this the fall menu? And, when does the winter menu start? And he was saying, well, first winter starts, and then we have second winter. And then he has, I think, early spring and late spring, and then summer just gets one.
Yeah, so summer and fall each just get one, but fall and winter are both split into 2.
Which is kind of cool.
6 seasons.
You have to be like, you can't be a picky eater though. Like I was thinking about that too. It was really nice that neither of us have allergies to anything. So we're able, like, maybe I liked some things more than others, but I'm able to like try anything, which is a huge blessing.
When you're making the reservation, there was an option to like fill in a comment box. So I think you could kind of help influence the menu maybe a little bit. Like there was an option to put in stuff like you can't eat or... But it is one of those things that, and we'll talk about this more later with another meal I had. It is nice having flexibility in traveling. And I know for a lot of people it's just not worth it or they don't want it, but... Or
they can't. Like what if you're allergic to something?
Yeah. No, that's definitely true.
Yeah, but it was very convenient. Did you have a favorite dish out of the like 12 that they gave us?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to think about a favorite.
The very first thing that they gave us was like a little cracker with ham and cheese. I know I'm oversimplifying it, but that one was fine. Like it was good, but then the second one that we had, I liked that one a lot because that was the one with shrimp and persimmon. And I just really like persimmon.
It was like a little fruit parfait, but then it had raw shrimp in it.
Yeah, it was like sweet and savory. But the shrimp, because it was raw, and I was thinking about this too, I never had raw shrimp growing up. Like we would have little cocktail shrimp, or like we'd go to the beach and get like a shrimp boil. I always assumed
shrimp was kind of crunchy, like had a little bite to it.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like chewy when it's boiled and stuff.
Yeah.
But when it's raw, it's like creamy. Yeah. And it's so good.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah, I had no idea until this, like when we moved here and I had raw shrimp for the first time and I was like, this is like a completely different texture than cooked shrimp.
I guess I think maybe my favorite, and I feel bad saying this, was maybe the steak.
Oh, really?
It was just really good.
Yeah.
And I really liked the peppercorns.
Wagyu boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they had...
Changed man.
They had raw peppercorns, which I guess that's what... Maybe he used the word nama, which is either raw or fresh.
Yeah.
But they were less spicy than dried peppercorns. And, like, when you ate the whole thing, it was, like, kind of wet, like a caper.
Yeah, they looked like capers, so I thought it was like a caper situation, but then it was like...
It was really good.
Yeah.
The other thing on the complete opposite end of the meal that I liked was that they gave us 2 ice creams.
That's true. I actually did like the tea experience. That was like a nice way to end a meal. So at the end of the meal, they gave you your options of like teas and stuff you wanted to drink or coffee. So you got like another, a little dessert.
And then they
right
gave
at
us
the
a
end.
platter that said happy birthday, not happy birthday, happy,
Wow. Ooh.
happy anniversary
Yeah.
on a cookie. And it was very nice because, I don't know, they didn't have to mention anything, but I guess in the notes they ask like why you're making the reservation.
We asked why, and I tried to just click reserve, and it was like, no, this is a required box.
Yeah, like you must tell us why
So
are
I
you
was
coming.
like, okay.
But
well.
it is a nice touch because
It
then
is,
they
yeah.
know kind of like what the event means to you, and then I don't know. Now I have like a really nice picture of us with like a happy anniversary cookie. It's very sweet.
Yeah, the chef took our picture.
Yeah, he did.
Did he do good?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean,
I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I was also
Yeah.
pretty sunburned from
Oh.
the bike ride, so I'm probably like super red. But
no, it was good. We'll put it on our Rambling Ramsbothams Instagram.
this is just a fun experience. Japan, I guess any city probably is good for like a date night, like food situation. But
Yeah, it's nice to live somewhere with nice restaurants.
yeah, look at us go.
We're like country bumpkins out in the city.
Yeah, I know. I feel like the Clampets. Well,
So
anyway, I had another meal.
Yeah, we really were like social and fun this week.
Yeah, and this meal was a
you
little less classy. So I have there's a local cycling community, and sometimes I go and do their like group rides, and I go ride with them. And a few of the guys, I mean, they're all like super friendly. I guess I feel bad because I'm really into cycling a lot because you can do so much of it. It's personal. Like
Yeah.
it's like a personal
You
experience.
like the solo sport aspects?
I like the solo sport, and then just the way I like to ride. I really like riding the way I
Yeah.
like to ride. So then when you're with a group, it can be totally fun and like a good place. And it is something special when you have, like a friend that you are on kind of like a similar level and you're like understand each other. So then you can go on a ride and you don't have to hash out all the details. Like you both just know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it can be really nice, but I guess, just like...
You're just trying to like find your groove with this cycling group.
Yeah, and I just like doing my thing.
Yeah.
But occasionally they'll invite me to stuff, and I always try to be nice, and I'll go. Mostly, I mean, because they are
Well,
super
you make
nice
it
guys.
sound like-
I know. I don't mean to make it sound
No.
like I don't want to be involved.
Yeah, I think
They're
it's nice
they're
that
very
they
friendly.
invited you to something that wasn't cycling so that then, you can maybe like decline some of the bike group offers and then hang out with them off bike too.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Yeah. So, yeah, and it's also just with the language barrier. Sometimes, like, especially with, like, riding, there are so many, like, technicalities and, like, details. It's hard to explain, like, well, I don't want to do this right now because, like, anyway. But, so, yeah, it was, like, really good to go get...
Zeb's on a strict training regimen.
Nah, not right now. But that's the problem is right now I'm not because now it's,
Right.
like, my off-season kind of. Like, I'm just putzing around, but...
So
They're out
they
there, like,
invited
hammering
you
it,
to
so.
get some yakiniku.
Yeah. So this was like a really funny thing because they invited me to a Yakiniku restaurant, and Annie and I have talked about this before. We're both, I would guess now say former vegetarians, on the meat now.
I'm a recovering vegetarian.
Yeah, God, my iron levels have never been better. Proteins
Yeah.
through the roof.
Yeah, there's hidden meat and everything here.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So
it's not a problem. But yeah, so you went to like basically a restaurant where like the only thing you can order is meat.
yeah, yeah.
Like yakiniku is like fried meat.
Yeah. So or grilled, I guess.
Grilled,
meat.
yeah.
Yeah, so I guess this goes back to what I was saying earlier, though, about, like, be just willing to try things. And I definitely, I 100% get when people are vegetarian, I don't want to eat that.
Yeah.
Totally okay. Like,
Yeah.
I was that way for so long. But then living in Japan, I've tried to, I want to see the other side. So they said, do you want to go get yakiniku? And I said, sure. But it's funny because when we sat down, a couple of the guys were talking, and they were like, oh, what do you like? And I was trying to explain to them, they're like, well, in America, I didn't eat meat. I was like, but here in Japan, it's okay. And one of the guys started giving the guy that organized it a hard time because I also am not drinking right now. And they wanted to do the nomi hodai, which is all you can drink for 2 hours.
So they brought like the non-drinker
Yeah.
former vegetarian to like an all-you-can-drink bar where all you can eat is meat.
Yeah. So he started giving the guy that organized it like a hard time, and he was like, what's going on here? But it was funny because then they started asking me, they were like, well, what do you eat? And I was
Yeah.
explaining, I was like, well, I really like rice and fish and vegetables. And it was funny because they were going along with rice and fish, and when I said vegetables, they were like, oh, like it's so Japanese. They're like, what are you like? They're like giving me a hard time for eating like the Japanese diet, and I was like, I was like
what do they eat?
well,
Only meat all the time.
I was like, we're in Japan.
Yeah. Except for broccoli. Broccoli's expensive here. Just as an aside.
So if you're a vegetarian,
sorry,
living in Japan, might need to start eating the meat. But it was totally fine because I told them, it's like I'm okay with trying whatever.
So they ordered like a sample of a bunch of different stuff for you guys?
Well, they got some kind of like course menu where they just kept bringing like plates.
It's kind of nice.
Just like plates of meat.
Because then you don't have to decide.
Yeah, but the first thing I noticed that was really funny is the one guy that organized it had only been to this restaurant once before. And right away, one of the older guys, who I guess was the senpai of the group, he was trying to get the waiter's attention, and he couldn't figure out how to call the waiter, so he was just yelling like "sumimasen,"
which is like what you would usually do. Yeah, so you usually would just yell for the waiter.
And then when that wasn't working, he looked at the table and he was like "bing bong," like "doko desu ka?" Like he was like asking for like
calling the doorbell the bing bong.
Yeah, he called it the bing bong. And they were like,
"Where's the bing bong?"
Well, immediately everyone was like, "Where's the bing bong?" And they were like looking around, and I was like, "What's happening?"
Which I guess is also true. A lot of tables will have like a doorbell.
Yeah, so it was on the iPad or tablet, whatever it was, and the guy called, and as soon as he pressed call the waiter showed up. Bong. So obviously the waiter had heard him yelling.
That's so dumb that they would
we were,
wait.
The only people in the restaurant.
Wow.
So then the waiter came up. And then the waiter said something like "wakaru" instead of like "wakarimasu." And so the guy that had been yelling like
he wasn't using the polite form.
Yeah, he corrected the guy's Japanese.
Yeah, because also if the waiter's younger and it's the waiter, they should be using.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Generally, they should use the polite form.
I was like, off to a bad start here. Don't have the bing bong. We're not using keigo. We're struggling. But yeah, so he ordered a bunch of stuff, and then the three guys got the nomi hodai, so they immediately just started drinking.
Yeah, you got to start. The timer's on.
You got 2 hours to get in there.
Which is still fascinating that that's a thing, but we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
But 2 hours of all you can drink in most Western countries, I feel like would just be an absolute wild time.
Especially in a college town.
Oh my gosh. It would be dangerous because people would just start taking shots.
In Japan.
Yeah.
One of the guys is having a tough time leaving at the end.
Oh, no.
But anyway, so he ordered all this meat, and I told him, I'm okay with trying it. No big deal. And the very first thing was cow tongue.
Oh.
And so I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's really.
It was like, we're really
jumping in the deep end.
In there. Because I was asking them, I was like, what is this? And they were like, I think it's tan.
And they just
maybe
point at their.
Yeah. But surprisingly, it was really good.
Oh, that's good.
I was very surprised. I thought it was going to be tough and chewy.
Yeah.
And it was, it wasn't.
That's good.
But then we moved into chicken neck.
Oh. There was no just chicken nuggets on the menu?
No.
Oh.
It was I don't know what set course they ordered.
Yeah.
But it was
the explorer's
give me
course.
The bits.
The bits.
So the chicken neck was also okay.
Okay.
There was normal meat.
I guess normal is in quotes.
There was pork at one point.
The meat were
there was bacon-y, and then there was some kind of just normal beef.
Mm.
But then they hit me with the Horumonyaki, which Annie said she'd never seen this on the menus before, and I've seen it because I always thought it was a funny katakana translation. It's basically hormone, horomon.
But it doesn't mean hormone.
No, I don't really. So basically, it means offal, which I also didn't really know what that was. I knew that it's
innards.
I knew that it's innards, but then I was looking it up, and the list includes esophagus, heart, pulmonary artery, uterus, mammary, diaphragm, pancreas, intestine, and rectum.
Mm.
And I know for a fact, I think I had a little bit of intestine or rectum.
Mm.
And the other thing, I'm honestly not, it was really soft. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. Well, we're trying
that one
lots
left
of
me
stuff.
a little kind of I can say no thank you to that next time.
Yeah.
I really got out there.
Well, at least you
my
tried it.
best.
What if you would really like it? There was the one, like the fish sperm that we had that one time.
Oh, yeah.
That was actually pretty good.
Because it was deep fried.
Well, it was deep fried, so anything deep fried is good. But yeah, I mean, I would try anything once, I guess. But yeah, it was nice. But for as much, like, you know, trouble you were talking about earlier, about how you were like, oh, I don't know if I want to go. When you came back, you were immediately like, oh, that was a really fun time.
Yeah, it was a good time.
You had a good conversation.
I just had that classic introvert thing where you say yes to something and then
you like dread it.
The time rolls around and you're like having cozy time in your house. And
yeah.
you're like, God, I gotta leave.
I gotta get out of the house.
Yeah.
No, but you did like it, and it was those guys sounded really nice.
Yeah,
like,
they're
off
super
the bike,
funny.
Too.
Like, yeah, because sometimes it's nice too because on the bike you do get to know people, but you get to know them in a different way.
Yeah.
Versus off the bike, you see a little bit more of like standard personality, especially when they were drinking so much. It got to like some of the conversation topics were just like really funny.
Well, and you can have like deeper conversations when you're just like face to face with someone. I mean, you can have good conversations on the bike and like topics will come up, but like sometimes it's hard when you're on a hill and you're like, I want to talk more, but like I have to breathe.
Yeah. So this topic came up due to cycling, but then they were curious. So they're asking me about, you know, something about what I prefer on my bike. And I was telling...
like components.
Yeah, I told him I had SRAM because he also actually has SRAM. And so we were talking about that.
Wow. Even though you're in Shimano country.
Yeah. And because he was complaining about the cassettes and how expensive they are. And I was like, yeah, I know. So we talked about that. And then he asked me about and he kept saying like Kozukai. And I was like, it kind of sounds familiar, but I don't know what that is. And then he was kind of like patting his legs, and I was like, Kozukai. I was like
pants.
Yeah, I was like, am I cramping? Like, are we like, my like muscles doing okay? And then he pulled out, because it's also in katakana, pocket money. And I was like, oh, pocket money. I was kind of like, I was a little confused because I was like, I don't really know, like, what you mean by like.
Yeah, like how much pocket money do I have?
Yeah, I was like, I brought like cash.
Like right now?
Well, then I thought we were like paying for the meal. So I was like, well, I brought cash. And then they were explaining that pocket money is basically, and they all had it. So there were 4 of us sitting at the table.
You guys are also 4 married men, which is an important topic for pocket money. Yeah.
And so pocket money is like the allowance that their wives give them.
Yeah.
So... And I had heard this, but I thought it was kind of like just one of those stereotypes.
I did too until you told me this.
Yeah, I thought it was, like a stereotype that people have about Japan, but it's not necessarily true. And, it's based on some reality, but in the real world.
I mean, not every household does this, but it is pretty common for in a household, the wife will be in charge of all of the money. Yeah. So, like, even if the man... like, regardless of whether they both have an income, even if the man is the only breadwinner, like, she takes care of all the money. Yeah. And she'll take all of the salary and then pay the bills, get the food, take care of whatever the kids need, and then whatever's left over, she might keep some, but then also, like, that would be the man's allowance, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. She basically, divvies it all up. And... I read like some news articles about this, and they were saying that essentially it's because a lot of people view that task as such a big burden that they don't want to spend time on it, and they think it falls in the realm of like housewife work, that's the wife's in charge of running the household, so the man's in charge of going out and earning the money and making a living, and then the wife should responsibly manage that money.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's super
because
interesting.
Because it's so much, like, I don't know, power in one person. I mean, I guess if you have a good relationship, then it wouldn't be, like...
And I also wonder if it's a symptom of... I mean, I guess we're, like, products of a different era. Like, when I was in...
a different culture, too.
Different culture, but I was also thinking, when I was in college, I had maybe... The first time, so when I was in undergrad, I had 2 bills that I did have to pay with a check. And so I either had to go to the office or I had to mail the check. Mm-hmm. So it was a bit of like an inconvenience. Yeah. But especially now, like everything's online and just automated. So I can't imagine that being such like a burden on my free time that I need someone else to like fully assume like the responsibilities.
Yeah. I don't know if like, I wonder what that looks like before they have kids, you know? Because then there's even less bills. Like if you have a couple of kids.
The news article that I read said that it's even like the housewife, like that, even if there are no kids involved, she controls the budget and she'll give out pocket money.
Well,
which is just,
look at her go.
I know. So they were like really funny and they were asking me about my pocket money. And I was like, oh, we don't do pocket money. Like we both have access to the bank account and within reason, like we allow ourselves to get the stuff that we need. So I was kind of not confused because I understand the concept of an allowance and a budget. But
yeah, well then I was like, maybe we should give each other pocket money because to keep ourselves accountable. Like if all we have for the month is just like this much cash, it's a pretty easy way to budget.
It's not a bad idea. So they were joking because one of the guys was like, yeah, my pocket money it was like 27,000 yen a month. And he was the oldest guy. And then the youngest guy, his pocket money is only 20,000 yen a month.
27,000, let me look at what that is conversion rate. Because that's only like $200.
Yeah. I mean, that's like $150.
I put an extra zero on accident. It's $180.
Okay, so $180. So, yeah, so he was complaining because he was like, when I need to buy a new cassette for my bike.
Yeah, that's like your entire
He was like, it's
month.
2 months of my pocket money. And I was like, dang, man. Shucks. But apparently that also includes like eating out, drinking. It includes kind of like, so that meal came out of their pocket money. And I was like, dang.
Yeah, that's a big treat.
I know.
Because you guys went a little wild.
Well, it's because the Nomi Hodai part was really expensive.
That's true.
But yeah, so it was like pretty fascinating to like learn about this concept and actually hear, no, it's not just a stereotype.
Yeah.
Like this is actually happening.
It had come up like in my conversations with my like girlfriends before but I kind of dismissed it because I was like, oh, that's funny. Like that wouldn't happen. But we had been talking about, kind of joking about this house that was for sale in
just
downtown.
Like looking at real estate,
Zeb just really likes looking at like Zillow or whatever.
Well, it's just part of the daydreaming about like, oh, what if we lived in Nagamachi? Like, oh, I wonder how much houses cost in Nagamachi.
But there was a really cool house, and we like biked over to see it, and we had taken pictures of it, and I was showing some friends, and I was like, oh, look at this place, and they were like, oh, I forget how it came up, but they know that like we both have just like open like access to our funds, and they're like, oh, you better be careful, like Zeb might go buy it, and I was like, but he wouldn't, like
yeah, like I'm just gonna go buy a house.
We would talk about that.
Like, woo.
So I don't know if the stereotype for Japanese women are like, oh, the men can't be trusted, like they'll just impulsively buy whatever, and I mean I'm sure that's just based on, it depends on what your personality is, like maybe somebody would, but I just thought it was funny that they were joking about that, but I guess that joke comes from the idea that everyone would have pocket money.
Yeah, or like that's the way they run things. So we started looking into it more, and it's interesting that my friends are unfortunately struggling in the pocket money. Like they should see the national statistics, because there's actually a bank that does a survey every single year, and they survey people about their pocket money. And in 2011, the average monthly pocket money was 39,600 yen.
Yeah, but so much has happened in like 12 years.
Yeah, so I found another study from 2022, and it's only decreased down to 38,642 yen. So pocket money has dropped a little bit. But then this is interesting because they also have now been surveying women.
So that's like $260 a month. Is the average.
Yeah. So women are also giving themselves pocket money. So I guess in the dual income household, the woman would give herself pocket money and give the man pocket money. And women on average only get 33,278 yen of pocket money. So it's a slight decrease from 2021, but overall not a huge drop from 2011. But it was interesting to note, so in the 1990s, like right in the peak of kind of the Japanese bubble economy, the peak pocket money was 76,000 yen.
Well, like in 1990, like right
Yeah.
before it burst.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's like almost double.
That's a lot of pocket money. Just walking around, just doing real good out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just fascinating to read about. And then they had all these other statistics about how it's the average male employee with the deepest pockets is a guy in his 30s. And then apparently pocket money starts decreasing after your 30s. I guess maybe because you have kids, so then the budget starts getting reallocated. Like,
more bills and stuff.
Yeah, and interestingly, women in their 20s had the greatest amount of pocket money.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, you don't have kids yet, maybe.
Yeah, maybe but if you're both not having kids until your 30s.
I don't know.
Women in their 20s are just spending.
No, maybe they have that much pocket money, but they don't spend it all. I don't know.
Yeah, so do you think, do we need pocket money?
Yeah, we might, honestly. It's not a bad idea. I still like that we have our money, like it's always accessible to both of us. Like we both can look at everything we have. There's no like hidden amounts or like secrets, but it is, I personally get a lot of like impulse buy things, especially food. Food always gets me.
Yeah, I'm bad at snacks.
Yeah. Like I went to the grocery store today because I went on a walk and it started pouring and I was walking right by the grocery store. So I was like, well, why don't I just take some shelter in
a nice little sweet treat.
The warm comfort of the grocery store, which also has cakes. That's why I bought the cheesecake.
And we started watching the new season of the Great British Bake Off.
Yeah, so I was really, cake was on my mind.
Yeah, we were craving some cake.
But I had a lot of impulse buys in there. And I was thinking like, oh, well, if I had just like cash, maybe I would spend less. But
yeah, I guess it's a
probably
similar...
not either. I don't know.
Maybe. I think it's a similar concept to... There are people that do the like envelope budgeting, where as soon as you get paid, you like withdraw, like you transfer whatever to savings and then you withdraw your money and then you put it in envelopes so you know like...
Exactly how much you have.
Yeah, this is how much I have. And then when you spend it...
It's gone.
Yeah, it's just gone. So yeah, I guess similar concept. So we could do something like that, but you could just manage it all.
I don't want to do that.
You would just be in charge of everything.
That's all right.
That would be bad because we do have like joint accounts that sometimes I'll ask you like, oh, have you looked at this account lately? And you're like, I don't remember my login or my password.
Well, no, that's not like
okay.
specifically my retirement fund. Like, why do I need to look at that?
Your retirement fund, our investment account.
Yeah, you just
a couple other accounts.
Invest it, forget it. That's what you're supposed to do.
There goes that money. I'm never going to see it again.
Don't take investing advice from me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That might not work for us.
Speaking of food, so I mentioned Persimmons.
Sweet treats.
Yeah, sweet treats. Good food. Fall has the best food. Fall is just the best season. But when we were eating our anniversary dinner, and I was talking about the shrimp persimmon dish.
Oh, yeah.
I was really excited. I was like hoping... I was just expecting the food to have persimmon in it because it's such a seasonal food that's like special to Japan. Also chestnuts, and it did have chestnuts. So
did it?
In the ice cream at the end.
Oh, and it also had kabocha.
Pumpkin.
Yeah, it had that pumpkin puree. It was also frozen.
So anyway, so then I was thinking, because I had not... Persimmons are another like food thing that I eat a lot now, but I never ate in America. And I don't know, it's not like we didn't have persimmons. I just never bought them. They weren't like something I ever saw or knew. So the first time I saw it, I was like, I don't know what this is. It looks like a tomato, but orange, kind of. And like harder. So like if you squished a tomato, it would like yield pretty easy. And a persimmon...
It would yield.
It's like...
The flesh of the tomato.
The persimmon is like a cross between like an apple and a tomato softness. Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah, they're super good. And I'm in the same boat that I like had heard persimmon. Like I knew of it as a word, and I knew of it as a fruit, but I don't think I'd ever really eaten much or any. Got
on this whole rabbit hole because I was thinking about persimmons and how I hadn't really had them before. Yeah. And I learned there's two main kinds of persimmon. There's the Shibu-gaki. So a persimmon is kaki, and when you combine.
It's like the rendaku.
Yeah, the kaki turns to gaki. But anyway, Shibu-gaki is like bitter, like astringent persimmon. And then the other kind is Ama-gaki, so sweet persimmon. So the two kinds, so if you ever see a tree and there's like a ton of persimmons on it still, which I've seen that, and I'm like, why have they not gone out and picked and eaten all of their persimmons? It might be a Shibu-gaki tree. And so you wouldn't be able to just like eat that. It would be like eating a banana skin. Like there's too many tannins in it.
It does not yield.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
And those are usually like, have you seen the longer persimmons that are kind of like acorn shaped?
Yeah, they're the ones that sometimes, don't they make something out of them?
Yeah, so
it's like
because...
at the face.
Oh, a face.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen like a cartoonist like looking, almost like a, not a jack-o'-lantern, but a similar vibe.
Well, I was going to say you do have to make stuff with the Shibu-gaki types because you can't just eat them like an apple. You have to either wait until they're really like soft and squishy, like overripe, and the tannins have naturally processed, I guess, or you soak them in alcohol, or you harvest them after a frost, so like the cold kind of helps take the tannins away. But a lot of times ravens will get them, like birds will get them before, if you just let them like stay out there.
Yeah.
Or you dry them, which you might see that a lot, where they've actually like hung them up on strings and dried them.
Yeah, I'm on pretty like polar opposites on the persimmon spectrum.
Oh.
I really like fresh persimmon.
Yeah.
Like when they're chopped up, like you're eating apple slices. That might be my favorite way, maybe, to eat persimmon. Or I like the ones that are really dry. You got some recently, and they're just a little bit too moist.
I like those. They're dried. But
I like the ones that have like a little bit of chew to them. Like they're dry, like you can...
Like an apricot.
Yeah, more like... Well, even sometimes I like a moist apricot.
Oh.
But I like a really dry... persimmon.
Sometimes they dry persimmons where they're like fruit gushers, where like the outside is like leathery skin, but then the inside is like jelly.
Yeah, that's true.
And those are good.
But those almost are those the ones that have like almost a powdered sugar on the outside?
They can.
They like are powdery looking.
Sometimes.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
So the other kind, like all of those kinds, can be made with that astringent persimmon, or you can get the Ama-gaki, which are the ones that look more like a tomato, like they're wider and flatter, and they're sweet, so you could just like eat the whole thing. And what I didn't know is like those are not natural. Like they've actually been produced as a result of mutating.
Oh, they're freaks.
Yeah, they've been like breeding the astringent persimmons until they get that like sweet variety. So those are like the Fuyu, the Jiro, those are two of the most popular kinds of Ama-gaki. And the persimmon made its way from Southeast Asia to Japan like 1,400 years ago. But then they weren't really seen as being commonly eaten until the 700s, which is still like so long ago. In my head, I can't even like imagine the 700s. But the first sweet persimmon was called the Zenjimaru, and it was a breed that they found at a temple in the Kamakura period in 1214. And you can actually go visit that Zenjimaru tree. And as recent as 2015, I saw a Google review where somebody was like, it's still here, you can still see the tree, and it's in Kawasaki in Kanagawa Prefecture. So, I mean, assuming nothing happened to the tree, you could go see the original sweet persimmon tree.
How long it produced fruit?
I don't know. I mean, that tree, yeah, I don't know.
It must not be the same tree. You only get like a couple hundred years if you like really take good care of it.
Yeah, it can't be the same tree. Because if they found the first one in 1214, no, there's no way. Unless a tree can just be 1,000 years and just producing fruit.
I mean, I don't know anything about persimmons, so...
Well, so now there's over 1,000 varieties, according to some articles I read. I don't know if that's true, but like over half
took off.
Yeah. Over half of those varieties are still that astringent kind. So you still have to like let them get really like jelly ripe almost, which I don't like eating them that. I don't like eating the jelly ones.
No, I don't think I would like that either.
Or dry them or like pickle them in alcohol. or you just get the sweet kind and you can just eat them straight.
Yeah, I also don't know if I would want a pickled persimmon.
I don't know. I don't think I've had persimmons in alcohol.
I don't think
but
I
I
have
think
either.
plums in alcohol are good. Like
Yeah.
what is that? Umeboshi?
Umeboshi.
But
Well, it's like pickled plum.
yeah,
I don't think it's like
umeboshi.
alcohol plum.
I forget what you call the ume sake, but those are good. So I'm sure persimmons and alcohol would be good too. So
Why
then,
not?
I also found this article that was about a persimmon tree that survived being bombed in Nagasaki, and so I don't know how, but it was charred and not doing that well, but it survived the atomic bomb, and they moved it to Nagasaki City, and like 900 meters away, and it's still alive and it's producing fruit, and they actually it took 50 years to like get it back to a producing fruit I don't know, ability, but now they host these art projects and they take the fruit from that tree and then they take the seeds and plant them in other places. And there's a website, the kakitreeproject.com, and it says that it's an art project to encourage children around the world to nurture the saplings from the survivor tree. And through nurturing the trees, children can learn the power of life, which can overcome obstacles in life, and the importance of peace. So, yeah. They planted them in like 250 countries.
Persimmons are just magical.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
I just can't believe it survived and that it's still 150 years later. Wait, 150? No, so the tree is 150. But it's, since the bombing came back. It was like 1945, so.
Way to go, tree.
Yeah.
Very proud of that tree.
Well, you have a word of the week to wrap us up after all that persimmon talk.
It's hard to follow all that up.
Yeah, sorry.
But I do have a word.
I got really into the persimmon. Well,
Yeah.
you go first.
Okay, so my word is itazura. Itazura.
And it means?
It means mischief, perhaps an escapade, a caper, a lark.
A lark.
But it also, I think, can mean prank.
Oh.
Like, it's the word that was on the seasonal drink that I got with the cat.
Oh.
That was called the Devil's Prank, was the name of the flavor. And
the Devil's Prank, I don't think that would be a very delicious flavor.
yeah, but
it seems like, do you remember in Harry Potter how they had the like every flavor beans?
Yeah.
And they would have like earwax flavor and vomit flavor. That's what the Devil's Prank flavor seems like it would be.
Yeah. So I mostly bought it because it looked very Halloween-y. And for some reason, I've been looking for like a pumpkin spice latte or something, like in the convenience store.
Yeah.
But most things in the convenience store have been sweet potato flavored.
Oh, also good.
Yeah, which is also good. But then I saw that drink and it had a cat on it, so I had to get it. And when I Google translated it, it came out as the flavor was Devil's Prank. It was the Devil's Prank latte.
What did it taste like?
It was maple syrup.
Oh, that sounds good. It just sounds like sugar, but.
I mean, yeah,
I guess
in the middle
maple,
of a bike ride,
Maple's a flavor.
Yeah, I mean, maple syrup,
Yeah.
maple is a flavor. So I was like halfway through a 100-mile ride, and I was like,
sounds good.
it's either going to make me feel really good, or the Devil's Prank could go terribly wrong. And I've since thought about it a lot. I haven't seen it in any other stores, and it makes me wonder, this is like just me thinking, I wonder if the Devil's Prank is like, does each drink have a different level of maple syrupiness? Like maybe some drinks are like really strong flavor and some drinks are weak flavored. That's probably me overthinking
I don't know.
it. I just don't understand.
Hard to manufacture.
Yeah. I just don't understand why you would call the flavor. Maybe there's something else in Japanese I need to look into.
Well, I don't know. It's kind of like when, maybe there's some kind of folktale or something, because pretty soon it'll be the moon viewing flavor time.
That's true. Well, it's already been that time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, McDonald's has had their schemy menu out for a while.
Oh. Which I guess it just means like, I I don't know. So it means moon viewing, but then the flavor is chestnut, and I guess because the chestnut looks like a full moon, that's kind of a stretch. Yeah, but then
they also have the egg burger.
Yeah.
As part of the scheme, because the egg looks like the moon.
Yeah, it's just all kind of a stretch because like I guess chestnut is the flavor. Anyway, I bet the devil's prank is something to do with that.
But then it makes me wonder, I know Japan has maple trees because the Japanese maple is a very popular tree, but is that a syrup producing maple? Like, does it produce sap? Or is maple syrup like a North American, Canadian / Northeast US
Yeah,
thing?
I'll have to look that up. I don't think the Japanese maple produces syrup.
I don't either. But anyway, what's your word?
Well, mine is going back to what we were talking about earlier with pocket money. So, Hezo curry is secret savings. And Hezo is belly button, and curry in this kanji means preceding, like before. So, I don't know why, like when you put like belly button and before together, it means secret savings, but
you're hiding stuff in your belly button.
Yeah, someone was saying that like maybe it's because you could keep like cash in your like OB belt, like close to your belly button.
Some stinky money.
Ew.
Who paid me with this? Sorry.
Like hiding it in your clothes, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, hazukuri is like secret savings, and some of the articles that were referencing the pocket money were talking about how like some women will give their husbands a little bit of pocket money, and then even though there's more left over, they put that in like a secret savings account. And I was trying to find
like
this.
They're planning on like running away?
I don't know. Like maybe it's for the family if they're trying to be good, but hopefully it's not just, for like a purse or something. Like a nice bag. But I was trying to find it again, I couldn't, but there's some story about like a samurai's wife who had a secret savings fund, and then the samurai got in trouble, and she was like, oh, I have this secret savings and I bought you this horse, and the horse like helped him win the battle or something. So I guess they were like, and see, the women know best, like they'll save the money the right way, which is
which is interesting because you
not
think
a
that's
great
just
way to
like,
look at a relationship, but
yeah, because you just think that's additional savings.
Yeah.
Like you would just give your husband slightly less pocket money, and then you would just put slightly more into the savings.
Well, for some reason it has to be secret savings. I don't know why.
Because he might take it, buy a house for a horse.
Well, it made me think like my great aunt, I've been told that she hid money in books. Like, I don't know why she would do that though.
Well, there were a lot of people that, didn't trust the banks after the Great Depression. So they would stuff money in like mattresses and stuff.
That's true.
And in Japan, that's still very popular apparently, that you save cash. Like not in a bank account, but you keep it in your house because they don't really, I don't know if it's because they don't trust the bank or if it's just a different thing, but there was a string of robberies in Tokyo, like right when we first moved here, and they're pretty high profile, so in the national news. And there were a few stories where they were still stealing like millions of yen from elderly people because they just had like boxes full of cash in their house.
Wow.
Which is wild. But
I was reading an article, it was like, or not article, it was like a like a Reddit post or something, but it was like a couple that lived in Japan and they had been robbed, and the police came to their house when they reported it, and the police asked the wife, like, can you tell us the amount in front of your husband, which is such a funny thing to ask, but she said it was because like maybe there would be like an assumed hazukuri or something.
Like, do you have secret money?
Yeah.
Are you planning on running away?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, what a wild, just different perspective on managing money.
Yeah, maybe it's like, when you put a jacket on and you find money in the pocket. Maybe it's supposed to be like that. Like, you're not doing so well, and then all of a sudden the wife is like, I have this rainy day fund.
You're very optimistic.
I don't know.
Very nice thought.
I don't think we have any hazukuri.
No.
It's a secret.
Yeah, I'm not aware of it.
Well, thanks for listening again this week. And if you have anything to add or anything you noticed that we got wrong or anything you want to tell us about, maybe you have some secret savings, you can email us, ramblingramsbothams.
Yeah, let us know how your family manages their money.
It doesn't have to be like that.
What do you guys do?
But we'd like to hear from you, so ramblingramsbothams@gmail.com.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.